All right, so you're interested in Aurora Cannabis, specifically their latest earnings call, huh? We're diving deep into their Q3 2025 performance.
What's really interesting about Aurora is they're kind of playing the long game here. They've shifted their focus away from that crazy competitive Canadian recreational market.
Yeah, seems like every one of their brothers trying to get a piece of that action.
Exactly. And instead, Aurora has doubled down, focusing on medical cannabis, both domestically and internationally.
And that strategy seems to be paying off.
Big time.
They just posted some record numbers.
They did. Revenue was up 37%.
37%, that's huge.
Yeah. And even more impressive, their medical cannabis revenue is absolutely skyrocketing, up 51% year over year.
Wow, those are some serious gains.
They are. And it's not just growth for the sake of growth either. Aurora is proving they can turn that growth into profit. Their adjusted EBITDA, which, by the way, stands for earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. It's a key measure of profitability. It's at an all-time high.
So they're not just bringing in the money, they're actually making money.
Exactly. And this isn't just a one-off, a lucky break. This is their 9th consecutive quarter of positive adjusted EBITDA.
That's what I call consistency.
For sure.
So they're killing it on revenue and profit. But what about cash flow?
Well, they pulled in a cool $27 million in positive free cash flow this quarter.
Wow, that gives them a lot of flexibility.
It does, whether it's investing in future growth or going out and making some strategic acquisitions.
Speaking of acquisitions, didn't they just buy MedRelief Australia?
They did, further solidifying their position as a major global player.
Okay, so let's break this record-breaking quarter down a bit further. Where's all this growth coming from?
Well, the real star of the show here is their medical cannabis segment.
It's not just some little side project for them.
Nope, it's the engine driving their success.
Interesting.
Yeah. Medical cannabis brought in a massive 77% of their total net revenue.
77%, wow.
And, even more impressively, 90% of their adjusted gross profit.
Those are some serious numbers. It's clear they made the right call focusing on medical cannabis, but are they still just a Canadian player?
Not even close. Their international medical revenue is absolutely exploding.
How much are we talking?
It's surged by an incredible 112% year over year.
So more than doubled.
More than doubled. And get this, it's on track to actually overtake their Canadian medical cannabis revenue very soon.
Wow. So where in the world are they seeing this international success?
Well, they're strategically targeting a few key markets like Australia, Germany, Poland, and the UK.
Each of those markets has its own unique challenges and opportunities.
Definitely. But Aurora is proving they can adapt and thrive in all sorts of different environments.
All right, let's start with Australia. They're already a pretty big player down under, right?
Oh, yeah. They're the #2 player in Australia's medical cannabis market, which, by the way, is highly regulated.
So it's not easy to succeed there.
Not at all. And they're not just riding the wave there either. They're actively shaping the industry, working closely with regulators and healthcare professionals.
Now, what about Germany? It seems like everyone's trying to get a piece of that market now that cannabis has been descheduled.
You're not wrong. Germany is red hot right now, and Aurora is right in the thick of it.
So what are they doing in Germany? Just importing product?
They are importing some, but they also launched their own German cultivated products under the Indimed brand.
Smart move. Consumers love local.
They do, especially when it's high-quality, locally sourced products.
It's like they're thinking 10 steps ahead.
Well, they do have to stay competitive.
True. So how's it going in their other target markets?
Poland and the UK also hit record revenues for Aurora this quarter.
That's impressive. They're really building a global footprint.
They are, and they're doing it strategically.
This global expansion is a huge part of their success. But what about the products themselves? What sets Aurora apart?
One word: quality. They are laser-focused on producing medical cannabis that meets the absolute highest international standards.
High standards.
High standards. In fact, 90% of their manufacturing capacity meets the crazy strict requirements of EU GMP and TGA GMP.
Hold on a second. What are EU GMP and TGA GMP? I know those are important, but what are they exactly?
Of course, sorry. EU GMP stands for European Union Good Manufacturing Practices, and TGA GMP stands for Therapeutic Goods Administration Good Manufacturing Practices.
So what does all that mean?
Basically, these are the gold standards for medical cannabis production in Europe and Australia.
Right.
So basically, they're not cutting any corners. They're going above and beyond to make sure their products are the best of the best.
And that must be why they're seeing such strong margins.
It's Definitely a contributing factor. Their medical cannabis adjusted gross margin hit a remarkable 74% this quarter.
74%. That's incredible.
It is. That's up from 63% year over year.
So what's driving that kind of margin strength?
A few things. First, their focus on higher margin international markets. Second, they've implemented some serious cost reductions across their entire operations. And finally, they've streamlined their manufacturing processes, which has led to better efficiency and higher output.
So it's a combination of smart strategy, running a tight ship, and focusing on quality. Sounds like a recipe for success in any industry.
Absolutely. And get this, those strong margins, they're expected to continue.
That's great news for investors.
It is. It gives them even more firepower to invest in growth and innovation.
So they've got strong revenue growth, impressive profitability, a truly global footprint, and rock-solid margins. What's not to love?
Well, every business has its challenges, but right now it seems like Aurora is firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, they seem to be in a great position to continue on this growth trajectory.
And really solidify their leadership in the global medical cannabis market.
Okay, before we get into all the nitty-gritty details, let's not forget about the Canadian recreational market. What's going on there?
Well, they haven't completely abandoned it, but they are strategically prioritizing those higher margin medical cannabis opportunities, at least for now.
Makes sense.
Right. But they are still gathering valuable consumer insights from that market, which they can use for future international expansion.
Smart. So they're keeping their options open.
Exactly. It's a smart, balanced approach. It sets them up well for long-term success.
Now, before we go any further, let's take a step back and look at the big picture. What does Aurora's success tell us about the state of the global medical cannabis market?
Well, I think Aurora's performance is a strong signal that the global medical cannabis market is maturing and gaining serious momentum.
It's not just a niche market anymore.
Not even close. We're seeing increasing acceptance from patients, regulators, and healthcare professionals all over the world.
And Aurora is right there leading the charge.
They are. They're not just riding the wave, they're shaping the industry through their commitment to quality, their innovation, and their global expansion.
It's a really exciting time to be watching this industry, and Aurora is definitely a company to keep your eye on.
Absolutely.
All right, so we just left off talking about all those exciting opportunities out there for Aurora, but let's not forget, they're not playing in an empty field. What does the competitive landscape look like?
Well, things are heating up, that's for sure. The global medical cannabis market's attracting a lot of attention these days.
Makes sense. Everyone wants a piece of a booming market.
Exactly. And with that attention comes competition. Aurora's up against some seasoned players and some very ambitious newcomers.
So it's a crowded field. What makes Aurora stand out from the crowd? They must be doing something right to be posting numbers like these.
Oh, they definitely have some advantages. For one thing, they were early movers in the global medical cannabis scene. They had time to build up a strong brand reputation.
So they've got that first mover advantage.
Exactly. They've been able to establish a solid foundation in some really key markets.
That's not something you can just build overnight.
Nope, it takes time and strategy. And beyond just being early to the party, they've also got a really deep understanding of the regulatory landscape. This industry is still heavily regulated, and navigating all those rules and complexities, it's not easy.
Seems like a minefield.
It can be, but Aurora's team has proven they can handle it. Gives them a real leg up on the competition.
So experience and regulatory know-how.
2 big check marks in their column. And they've got another ace up their sleeve. A truly global supply chain. They can deliver high-quality products to patients all over the world.
That's impressive.
It is. It takes a lot of coordination and expertise to pull that off.
Okay, so we've got experience, regulatory know-how, global reach. It's like the trifecta.
Yeah.
But they're not just coasting on their past successes, are they?
Not at all. They're also investing a ton in research and development. They know that innovation is key, especially in a fast-moving industry like this.
But they're not just growing cannabis, they're really pushing the boundaries.
Exactly. Exploring new product categories, new delivery methods, even new therapeutic applications.
It sounds like they're always looking ahead.
That's the key to staying ahead in this game.
Okay, so they've got a lot going for them. But it can't all be sunshine and roses, right?
Yeah.
There have to be some challenges too.
Of course. One of the biggest is that ever-changing regulatory landscape. The rules are constantly evolving.
Sounds like a real headache.
It can be. They have to stay super agile, constantly adapt to those changes, and make sure they stay compliant.
Got to stay on your toes in this industry.
You do. And so far, they've been doing a great job of it. But it's something investors definitely need to watch.
What else? What other challenges are they facing?
Well, like we talked about before, competition. That's a big one.
Makes sense. The medical cannabis market's getting more crowded every day.
Exactly. New players are entering the market all the time. Existing players are expanding their operations. It all puts pressure on prices and margins.
So how's Aurora dealing with all that competition? What are they doing to stay ahead?
Well, one way is their focus on quality, premium quality. They're not just churning out cannabis, they're producing high quality, standardized medical grade cannabis.
Ah, so they're going for the high-end market.
Exactly. They're meeting the strictest international standards. That sets them apart.
So quality is the big part of their strategy.
It is. And they're backing it up with smart marketing and branding. They're building trust.
By educating healthcare professionals and patients.
Exactly. It's a sophisticated approach, but it seems to be working. They're building a strong reputation for reliability.
Okay, so they've got the challenges, they've got the opportunities. What about their long-term growth strategy? What are they aiming for?
Their ultimate goal, they want to be the world's leading medical cannabis company.
That's a bold goal.
It is. And they're backing it up with action. They're making bold moves, investing heavily, building a global footprint.
So they're really going for it.
Absolutely. And they're not just winging it, they've got a plan. A clear vision, a detailed strategy, and a team of executives with the experience to make it happen.
Sounds like they've got all their ducks in a row.
They do. Of course, no guarantees in business, but they seem to be doing everything right. They're in a great position to benefit from that growing global demand.
Okay, before we wrap up this part, let's have a little fun. Put on our "this is not financial advice" hats. Let our imaginations run wild.
Okay, I'm game. What if?
What if U.S. federal legalization finally happens? What could Aurora do to really shake things up?
Ooh, that's a big one. Well, with their strong financial position and their track record of acquisitions, they can make a huge splash in the U.S. market.
Right. Like imagine them acquiring one of those big U.S. cannabis companies that's been struggling under the current regulations.
That would be a power move. Instant market share, brand recognition, the works.
They could really leverage their expertise.
Absolutely. Cultivation, production, international distribution, they could change the game.
Aurora conquers America. I can see the headlines now.
It's definitely a possibility. Of course, it wouldn't be without its challenges, but it's a tantalizing thought.
It is. It just goes to show Aurora's a company with a lot of options.
And a company to watch.
All right, so in this part, we looked at Aurora's advantages, their challenges, their long-term goals, and even had a little fun with some what-if scenarios.
We really dug deep and got a sense of what makes them tick.
But we're not done yet. In part 3, we'll step back and look at the big picture. What does all this tell us about the future of the cannabis industry? What should investors be paying attention to? And what can we learn from Aurora's journey so far?
It's been quite a journey, and the next chapter is going to be even more exciting.
All right, welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into Aurora Cannabis's Q3 2025 earnings.
It's been an exciting ride, hasn't it? We've covered their amazing financial performance, their global strategy, and even got a little speculative about the future.
We've seen how they've tackled a really dynamic industry, overcome challenges, and really become a leader in that global medical cannabis market.
Now it's time to take a step back and see what we've learned.
So what are the key takeaways from this quarter? What stands out to you?
I think, well, the most obvious takeaway is that Aurora is really firing on all cylinders right now. They're executing their strategy, and it's showing in their results.
They're not just growing, they're thriving.
Yeah.
And in a market that's still relatively young.
Exactly. The global cannabis industry is predicted to just explode in the coming years.
And Aurora is in a prime position to really ride that wave.
Absolutely. They've got the experience, they've got the infrastructure, the brand recognition, and most importantly, the financial resources to become a major player on a global scale.
But it's not just about being big.
Right. It's about making smart decisions, staying ahead of the curve.
And that's where Aurora really shines.
Yeah.
They've consistently shown they can adapt, anticipate those market trends, and make bold moves.
Their early focus on medical cannabis, that was brilliant. It allowed them to stand out in a crowded market, charge higher prices, build that reputation for quality and reliability.
Smart move.
Yeah.
And their global expansion strategy has been equally impressive.
It has. They're very deliberately selecting markets with a lot of potential and favorable regulations.
They're also really building those deep partnerships at a local level, adapting their business model to meet the specific needs of each market.
Exactly. It's like a global playbook with local adjustments.
I like that. Global playbook, local adjustments. And another thing that stands out to me is their commitment to innovation.
Definitely. Aurora is constantly pushing those boundaries, exploring new product categories, delivery methods, partnering with research institutions.
They know that innovation is key to stay ahead.
It is, especially in a market that's evolving this quickly.
And they're not just throwing money at it, they're making strategic investments that really fit into their long-term goals.
Exactly. It's that kind of discipline, that forward-thinking approach that really sets them apart from the competition.
So what can investors learn from Aurora's journey so far?
I think the biggest lesson is that it's smart to invest in companies that have a clear vision.
A strong leadership team, a solid track record of execution.
Yes, and a commitment to innovation. Aurora checks all those boxes.
They do. And their performance shows what those qualities can do for a company. Now, before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
What's up?
Aurora's success isn't just about one company. It's about an entire industry. An industry that's transforming healthcare, agriculture, so many sectors.
It's creating jobs, it's driving economic growth, it's improving lives.
And Aurora's at the forefront of it all.
Leading the charge, shaping the future.
It's exciting to be a part of. Can't wait to see what's next for Aurora and the industry as a whole.
Me too. It's going to be an interesting ride.
That's it for this episode of The Deep Dive. Thanks for joining us on this journey of discovery.
We hope you enjoyed it.
And remember, as always, this is not financial advice.
Always do your own research before making any investment decisions.
We'll see you next time.